World leaders are making unprecedented diplomatic moves as they extend Diwali greetings across the globe. And what we're witnessing is far more than just ceremonial pleasantries. This is strategic, soft power diplomacy at its finest, and the implications are staggering. U.S. President Donald Trump has launched what can only be described as a comprehensive outreach campaign to America's Hindu, Sikh, and Jain communities. In his official White House statement, Trump didn't just offer simple greetings. He positioned Diwali as a cornerstone of American values, describing it as a timeless reminder of light's victory over darkness. But here's what's really significant about Trump's approach. He's not just acknowledging a religious festival. He's embedding it into America's national narrative. Trump emphasized that Diwali embodies unity, hope, and the enduring power of goodness, directly connecting these themes to American ideals. This isn't accidental messaging. This is calculated political positioning designed to strengthening ties with one of America's most economically influential immigrant communities.
And our economic relationship is so important. The US has a trade surplus with Australia, as you know, and we can continue to take what is every opportunity to improve the relationship even further and make it even stronger. And today's agreement on critical minerals and rare earths is just taking it to the next level. Today will be seen as a really significant day in our relationship.
The AUKUS Defence Pact was also on the agenda as the US President gave his support for the submarine deal, claiming it's, quote, moving along rapidly.
Speaking of strategic economic partnerships, the recent announcement of major trade deals demonstrates how cultural diplomacy translates into tangible economic benefits. These agreements, worth billions of dollars, showcase the direct correlation between respectful cultural engagement and successful international commerce. The numbers behind this strategy are remarkable. The Hindu American population has grown exponentially over the past 2 decades, becoming one of the wealthiest and most educated demographic groups in the United States. Trump's detailed statement acknowledges this reality while positioning his administration as deeply respectful of Hindu traditions and values. But Trump wasn't alone in this diplomatic offensive. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu delivered what might be the most strategically significant Diwali message of all. Netanyahu's greeting to Prime Minister Modi wasn't just diplomatic courtesy, it was a public reinforcement of the India-Israel strategic partnership, at a time when both nations are navigating complex geopolitical challenges. Netanyahu's message highlighted that Israel and India stand together as partners in innovation, friendship, defense, and building a brighter future. This language is deliberately chosen to signal to other global powers, particularly China and Pakistan, that the India-Israel alliance remains robust and multifaceted. The timing of these messages is crucial. They come as both nations face pressure on multiple fronts and need to demonstrate the strength of their bilateral relationship. Now here's where British Prime Minister Keir Starmer's involvement becomes particularly interesting. Starmer's Diwali message wasn't just directed at Britain's Hindu, Sikh, and Jain communities. It was a clear signal about post-Brexit Britain's global positioning strategy. Starmer specifically mentioned his recent DIYA lighting ceremony in Mumbai, directly referencing his diplomatic engagement with India. This isn't just cultural appreciation, this is economic diplomacy in action. Britain desperately needs strong trade relationships post-Brexit, and India represents one of the world's fastest-growing major economies. Starmer's Diwali messaging is part of a broader campaign to position Britain as India's preferred European partner. The Conservative Party's response, led by Kemi Badenoch, reveals the bipartisan nature of this strategy. Badenoch's message about light over darkness and the power of family, community, and faith directly mirrors themes that resonate with British voters concerned about social cohesion and traditional values. This suggests that Diwali diplomacy has become embedded in British domestic politics, not just international relations. But the global scope of this diplomatic phenomenon extends far beyond the major powers. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, and leaders from Singapore, UAE, and Sri Lanka have all participated in this coordinated Diwali outreach. This represents a fundamental shift in how world leaders approach cultural diplomacy. What we're seeing is the recognition that India's cultural influence has become a global diplomatic asset that can not be ignored. The economic implications are staggering. India's diaspora communities control significant wealth and political influence in countries around the world. By engaging respectfully with Diwali celebrations, world leaders are essentially investing in long-term economic and political relationships with these communities. The FBI Director Kash Patel's participation in Diwali greetings reveals another dimension of this strategy. Law enforcement and intelligence agencies are recognizing the importance of cultural outreach in building trust with immigrant communities. This is particularly significant given ongoing concerns about domestic security and the need for community cooperation in intelligence gathering. The Israeli Diplomatic Corps' extensive Diwali engagement deserves special attention. Multiple Israeli embassy officials, including political affairs advisors and foreign ministry diplomats, participated in Diwali celebrations and shopping for traditional decorations. This level of institutional commitment suggests that Israel views cultural diplomacy with India as a national security priority, not just a diplomatic nicety.
Been concerned in Australia that it's taken 9 months to get this meeting. Have you had any concerns with this administration, with its stance on Palestine, climate change, or even things the ambassador said about you in the past, the Australian ambassador?
I don't know anything about him. I mean, if he said bad, then maybe he'll like to apologize. I really don't know. Did an ambassador say something bad about him? Don't tell me. I don't. Where is he? Is he still working for you?
Yeah.
You said bad?
Before I took this position, Mr. President.
I don't like you either. I don't, and I probably never will.
The complex nature of modern diplomacy means that even celebratory occasions can reveal underlying tensions. Recent diplomatic meetings have shown that beneath the surface of cordial relationships, there can be moments of unexpected friction that remind us how delicate international relations truly are. Yet these same meetings often produce substantive agreements that benefit both nations economically and strategically. The messaging from these leaders reveals sophisticated understanding of Hindu philosophy and values. References to light triumphing over darkness, good conquering evil, and the importance of family and community demonstrate that these aren't generic diplomatic statements. They're carefully crafted messages designed to resonate with specific cultural and religious values. This level of cultural literacy in diplomatic messaging represents a significant evolution in international relations. World leaders are no longer content with superficial acknowledgments of foreign cultures. They're investing in deep understanding of cultural narratives and values to build authentic connections with global communities. The timing of these messages, coordinated across multiple time zones and countries, suggests a level of diplomatic coordination that goes beyond coincidence. This appears to be a conscious effort by democratic nations to demonstrate cultural inclusivity and respect for Hindu traditions at a time when authoritarian regimes are challenging liberal democratic values globally. The implications extend beyond immediate diplomatic benefits. By publicly celebrating Diwali, world leaders are making statements about multiculturalism, religious tolerance, and the integration of immigrant communities into national narratives. This is particularly significant in countries experiencing political tensions around immigration and cultural integration. The economic dimension cannot be overlooked. India's economy is projected to become the world's third largest by 2030, and Indian diaspora communities control significant economic resources globally. Leaders who invest in cultural diplomacy now are positioning their countries for preferential economic relationships in the future. The social media coordination of these messages reveals another layer of strategic thinking. By sharing Diwali greetings across multiple platforms simultaneously, world leaders are ensuring maximum visibility among target communities while demonstrating the global reach of their cultural engagement efforts. This represents a new model of diplomatic communication that bypasses traditional media channels to reach communities directly. The participation of opposition leaders like Kemi Badenoch and Priti Patel in Britain shows that Diwali diplomacy has become institutionalized across party lines. This suggests that cultural engagement with Hindu communities is now considered essential for political legitimacy in multicultural democracies. The long-term implications of this diplomatic trend are profound. We're witnessing the emergence of cultural festivals as platforms for international diplomacy, economic positioning, and domestic political messaging. This represents a fundamental shift from traditional state-to-state diplomacy toward community-centered international relations. As global power dynamics continue to shift toward Asia and as Indian influence grows globally, expect to see even more sophisticated and coordinated international engagement with Hindu cultural celebrations. The leaders who master this form of cultural diplomacy will be best positioned to benefit from the continued rise of Indian economic and political power on the world stage.